In the world of motorsport, there are many iconic corners. And then there is Eau Rouge.
Of the FIA World Rallycross Championships. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most iconic, most historic tracks in the world. And just behind me here, there it is, the Eau Rouge, one of the most famous corners in all of motorsport. And I'll tell you what, it has never looked dirtier than yesterday when this track opened its doors to World Rallycross for the very first time. Now we are going to have Q3 and Q4, the qualifying rounds, all live for you today in both World RX and RX2 disciplines as well. The story of the day, it's the weather. Of course, we saw very soggy, very wet, very dirty conditions yesterday. It is dry, it is sunny, and it is warm today. And you can see behind me, the track has been prepped beautifully overnight. The road sweepers have actually been in and cleaned Eau Rouge overnight. So we're going to see markedly different racing to what we had yesterday. The man, though, at the top, the man to beat at the moment, driving so aggressively, so fluidly, that is Liam Duran of RX Cartel, of course. And he's got teammate Andreas Baccarat in P2, so a brilliant day for Monster Energy RX Cartel. Let's take a quick look at how things played out on the track.
Heavy rain for the start of the very first qualifying session at Spa-Francorchamps. Race 1, and it was Christian Sabo who got the whole shot, but it was Gurlan Shisha who would lose out up at the hairpin. Sideways on the exit, he was collected by Yanis Balmanis and spun around. No such issues for Sabo, he took the win. Timo Scheider got the best start in his race. You ride on board with Guillaume de Ridder, a lifetime's ambition to be racing at Spa in a World Championship for the Belgian. Markland and Veeman chased Scheider to the line. Markland got him with a fantastic time, Veeman didn't. On board with Timazyanov, he loses out at the start to Andreas Baccarat. Sideways in turn 1, just leans on Bennett at the exit. The Russian was looking super fast, but a technical issue at the end of the race meant he couldn't challenge Baccarat, who went fastest so far. Liam Doran down towards turn 1 ahead of a very strong field in the final race of Q1. Matthias Ekstrom shutting the door on Kevin Hansen through Eau Rouge. The fantastic banked corner at Spa RX proving that multiple lines can work. Doran coming out just in front of Hansen and Kevin just beating Ekstrom. But come the final lap, Timmy Hansen was just a little bit faster than the Brit around the outside and he took the win, but he wasn't quick enough to beat Andreas Baccarat. On to Q2, the fastest drivers first after the grids were flipped. Johnny Weeman trying to come around the outside of Scheider, almost in the wall, and just holds off Sabo on the run up the hill. It came down to joker lap tactics, and at the end of the race, it was the Finn who took the win. A brilliant start by both the Audis in race 2. Liam Doran on the inside, able to capitalise. Matthias Ekstrom trying to go around the outside, but it didn't quite work. Kevin Hansen jokered early and it led to the move of the weekend. Timazyanov jumped from outside to inside, somehow stuck the nose in a gap that just wasn't big enough and took the spot from the World Championship leader. Brilliant driving by the Russian. On to the final lap though, no one was anywhere near Liam Doran. A stunning time for the Brit. Yanis Balmanis bullied his way to the front in turn 1, but this one was all about the battle of the Belgians. Contact over the jump between de Ridder and Duval, with de Ridder getting the better of his more famous countryman. Balmanis takes the win, but Doran wins Q2 and his overnight TQ.
I'd like to think that I can hang at this level, but I've been struggling the last 2 races. Been the first 2 races with this team in this car, so I can't be too hard on myself. But yeah, here it's given me the advantage. It's a new track for everyone again, so I've lost that little bit of a gap to everyone, and I'm very, very happy.
A brilliant 1-2 then for the Monster Energy RX Cartel, with Doran at the top of the table from Baccarat, Weeman, Scheider, Sabo, Balmanis, Raymond and Timazyanov. The Hansens are a long way down the page, along with Matthias Ekstrom in 12th. Work to do tomorrow if they want to be at the front of the semi-finals.
Well, there you go. A brilliant day for Monster Energy RX Cartel yesterday. Work to do for the Hansen brothers, who, of course, dominated in Catalonia and Abu Dhabi. I'm going to now hand you over to our commentary team, Andrew Coley and Dan Rook, who are just over there.
Thanks, Laura, very much. Laura literally down there on the outside of turn 1, getting covered in dust from the cross carts, which were out first of all. We've got RX2 coming up for you, Q3, followed by World RX. We've seen some great racing yesterday, but Dan, conditions today are completely different. Yeah, exactly. And obviously yesterday the guys finding the settings that they needed in the wet conditions, but dry now and all completely different again. So starting from ground zero. Looking forward to it very much. Liam Doran's had some good support from a couple of world champions. Matthias Ekstrom, who's down in P12, has done a big test recently, and we believe some of those updates, well, we know the dampers are on Liam's car, but we've also got Petter Solberg here this weekend. So Petter is here as a guest of Monster Energy RX Cartel, and has apparently been helping out the drivers as well. So with a P1 and a P2 and 2 world champions behind you, that's some serious support, Dan. Yeah, exactly. And Petter, with so much experience in setting up cars and obviously racing in Rallycross himself, running teams, it is so much benefit for the RX Cartel boys to have him there. So, of course, we've got RX2 first of all. We've got our first 3 cars on the grid. On the inside, Albert Lavera, who's in P13. Remember, only one of these guys won't make it through to the semis. Albert made it last time. Ben-Philip Gunderson didn't, I'm afraid. He was a bit naughty in Q3 and was disqualified in Barcelona. So that meant he didn't make it through. Oliver Eriksson is in this one, and that's because he had a puncture yesterday in Q2. 2 punctures. Dan Rooks hold up a 2-finger sign to me there, saying 2 punctures. I saw the front right. He had another one as well. Did you go and see him last night? Yeah, back left. He has no idea where he got it, but yeah, he was asking me if I had any clue. So. Well, we have no idea either, do we? That's a pretty decent result then. Yeah, where was he? I mean, okay, he was. Yeah, I don't know. I'll check in a second, but he did all right. He did all right. So what can Eriksson do here? Down towards turn 1, Wilfredson on his outside. We would expect Ollie to get the whole shot there, really. Through Eau Rouge for the first time up towards Radion. And we should see much later braking down. Yeah, exactly. The dirt isn't dragged onto the track like it was yesterday. It's not as damp, and it really means that they can anchor on, lean on the Cooper tyres, get themselves stopped. Lavera was sideways there, and we must tell you guys at home, it's actually still pretty cold here. Yeah, it is still cold, and you can still see some patches in the track where it's a bit damp, like as they come down the bottom of the hill there, turn right, big damp patch there, and obviously the gravel is still a little bit damp as well. Plenty of experience for yourself in these RX2 cars, and you were saying yesterday this is one of the unusual circuits, a little bit like Canada, in that it's deep gravel and you have to drive the car a bit differently. Explain why. Yeah, so basically these cars, as we see at Ollie, they're very tidy, and these cars generally tend to be you have to drive them very smooth. They don't have the turbo to pull you out of mistakes, so you have no bottom end power. You have to keep the revs up and drive them carefully. However, this bottom corner here, where it's really deep gravel, you can completely rotate the car really early, as you see these guys doing here, and you can hear them up really high in the rev range, because that's where these guys get their maximum power. They have a bit of wheel spin, the wheel spin digs into the gravel and it can help shoot them out of the corner. So yeah, a little bit more chance to send it in an RX2 car here. They're about half the power of a supercar. Roughly 300 horsepower for these guys, 310 I think it is, and roughly 600 for a supercar, a bit under 600, isn't it? That's the figure that everybody gives out as a general rule. And we've got some people here with modification to engines. Matthias Ekstrom running a different engine, a different map, different launch. He was smiling and saying, listen to it, mate, when you hear it, and it did sound really gnarly out on the track. These guys, of course, all have the same engine. Yeah, of course. So 2.4 litre Duratec engines, prepared by Mount Tune. Everyone running the same thing. And yeah, obviously everyone's on the same page. No advantages with a different engine builder or anything like that. The Mount Tune engineers come to every round and they service every single car, so they know that everyone is running it fairly. Eriksson going to set the benchmark here. We don't know if the track's going to develop this morning. We don't know how it's going to develop either. You can see obviously there's loose gravel, so there's going to be ruts and bumps. But in terms of grip on the tarmac, we're not really sure. So Eriksson has gone 2:26.6. And yesterday, wow, okay, that is 10 seconds faster than Kallio went to win Q1 and 8 seconds faster than Gunderson went to win Q2. So that's between 2 and 3 seconds a lap faster for these guys. Yeah, super quick, and it just shows what difference it makes having a dry track compared to a wet one. Eriksson in the holding area. They take them up to the runoff area just outside Eau Rouge. Eau Rouge is actually the name of the stream, the river which runs underneath the track. And Eau Rouge used to go much further left and off into the forest many years ago. Ericsson takes it from Wilfredson and Lavera. There's an old loop of track up there. Spa was modified when the trend was to have the fastest track. So they took out a section at Eau Rouge and made it flat out up the hill towards Radion, which brought the average speed of the track up, because back then if you had a faster average speed it was a cooler track, it was a better place to race. We're talking back in the 30s, I believe, that it was modified. Beautiful old circuit here, and of course in contrast to that, a brand new rallycross track. And I have to admit, we did make Eau Rouge a little bit dirty yesterday. Good run by Ericsson. It's going to take a pretty perfect run to beat him unless the track changes.
Yeah, super good job by him, keeping it very tidy and getting the job done.
Well, Oliver, a brilliant race from you there, fighting back from 2 punctures, of course, in Q2, and very quick as well. How is that track feeling?
It's good. It was smooth this morning and it was smooth now in Q1, so I really needed this heat, and hopefully it takes me up, because I dropped down quite a bit from the double puncture in Q2 yesterday. So I need this P1 now, so hopefully it's enough.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Next car's on the line already. On the inside, far side of your shot, you can see Fraser McConnell. Then it's Anders Michelak. We're looking in through the side window of Simon Olofsson. Next to Olofsson in the French flag coloured car, run by Fahren. That is Damien Meunier, who joined the series this year along with Steve Volders on the outside. Volders, the current FIA European Touring Car Champion. So coming from 2-litre rear-wheel drive to 2.4-litre four-wheel drive. Meunier coming from Supercar in France to RX2. And of course McConnell coming all the way across the Atlantic. First time in Europe, him back in Barcelona. McConnell's on the inside here, should be able to hold them off. Michelak might get a cut back if McConnell goes deep, but I think he's found enough traction. He has. Olofsson on the outside, Meunier up the inside, so Meunier's made a move as well. Going to get P2 here as long as he gets it stopped. Michelak going to try and go around the outside. Meunier sticks the nose in. It's good driving from Michelak to hold on to that.
Yeah, really closing the door there on Meunier, just not letting him in. Obviously, it's such a tight hairpin. Michelak could run a little bit deeper and afford to then cut back in on him and shut the door.
Olofsson goes joker on that one. Meunier up underneath Michelak already. You can see they go a bit deep and as you say, chuck it and get on the gas.
Yeah, so it's super cool. You can just hear these guys. They're like pretty much bouncing on the rev limiters, trying to get themselves through the gravel. And it's such a fun style to be able to drive as well.
So braking zone up here will be the main thing. Yesterday they were still flat out through Eau Rouge as we would expect. You know, we're not approaching it like F1 approaches it, but it was very slippery if people touch the curbs. But today is about braking zones, and both the tarmac braking zones, Dano, they're big ones.
Yeah, it's super heavy, of course. Obviously up the hill you've got a really fast turn 1, and then up through braking as you go slightly right and up towards Radion, and then go back left, and then back down the hill as well. You know, obviously you've got that extra gravity momentum, and then the crest before you brake them as well. So Meunier here looking up the inside of Michelak, looking very promising, but you can just see the difference in that in the lines from on the last corner there.
I thought he got him, but he didn't carry enough speed on the exit.
No, so obviously with Michelak running that little bit wider, he's not making the corner quite as deep, so able to carry that extra momentum.
So Michelak versus Meunier. Olofsson in the background of the yellow car has jokered, and now Michelak goes as well. So Michelak spotters maybe onto Olofsson in the background. Let's see where Olofsson comes in out of this lot. And you can see Olofsson on the back of Volders and Co. This is to protect for Michelak. He's going to try and shut the door on Olofsson. Fantastic job by the spotters there. So they're all over that. Michelak's going to hold position unless Olofsson get underneath him at turn 1. Very aware, you know, and they're aware of a car that's 4 cars back there. Dan, I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, of course, and you know, it's so easy to just accidentally lose focus on who has jokered, because obviously there's so many cars to watch in a race. They're all in a train, and
he's in a battle with Meunier as well. You know, so you'd think, wouldn't you, in that battle with Meunier, he's focusing on that, but luckily the spotters have gone, you know what, if he doesn't choke, and now Olofsson's going to get him anyway. So Olofsson and Michelak coming around the outside. On the inside, Fraser McConnell has been very much untroubled out front. The Jamaican takes this one, crossing the line behind. It's a 2:30.0, so he's 3.4 off Ericsson, but he is quicker than Wilfredson and Lavera. So McConnell will go P2 in the session so far, but his teammate Oliver Ericsson at OMSC looking very good indeed, as we would expect. Messaged Fraser last night, and he said he was happy enough. Taking the win from Meunier, Michelak, Olofsson and Volders. Michalak doing well, say with that earlier joker, 1 lap earlier to hold Olofsson off. I think Olofsson would have been just in front of him otherwise. Mounier, in fact, getting out in front of Michalak as well. So Mounier must have done a good job on that last lap. Ericsson leading though, look at that, 3.4 seconds, very impressive.
So very even start from all the guys on the line here. Of course, one mixed series as you'd expect. A bit of contact on the inside meant Mounier was able to just switch from the outside to the inside and then able to challenge for second place here on the run up to the hairpin.
Could have been a bit more aggressive maybe there for me. Almost if you miss the braking point on purpose and just push Michalak out, you claim the position at least. Yeah,
of course. Obviously, once you get a nose up the inside, you know, you kind of know you've got a little bit of a barrier on the outside. Of course, it's a little bit of a dodgy thing to do. You don't know what's going to, you know, you don't want to cause any damage or anything as well. So
when there's 2 cars behind, of course, if you run too deep, then you can end up giving places away. But nicely done. McConnell takes it. Mounier just holding on, Bundle over the line.
Well, Fraser, that's a bit more like it, isn't it? What did you learn from yesterday's wet conditions for today?
Yesterday was really tricky, new track for everybody, but we were not where we wanted to be with the pace, so we slept on it. Feel good this morning, and it clearly shows. We got the flat tire in the second to last lap. Still managed to get first, which I'm really happy with. But we're going to go back, look at that, and see where we can improve.
Thank you. Well done.
Last cars are on the line for RX2, another 5-car grid. Ben Philip Gunderson, who is currently in P2 due to that win yesterday in Q2. Next to him we got Kallio, who's been mega quick. Then Nilsson, Gryazin and Sami Matti Trogan. This should be a great big scrap, and they'll be hoping that they can match Oliver. Revs up, here we go. Watch for the orange light to go out. Fantastic start across the whole grid. Gunderson looks to have hooked up the best though. Nilsson drops back straight away. Wonder if he's given that up to try and slot in on the inside. I think he has. Should pay off if he can hold off the cars behind. So Nilsson slots into P3, but it's Gunderson from Kallio up into turn 1.
Really smart move there from Nilsson. I'd imagine an early call from the spotters. As soon as they saw everyone go off the line side by side, they were like, right, get yourself out of trouble, tuck in, and then you're able to undercut the people on the outside.
Yeah, really tidy, really sensible. Sideways and late into the corner again. Kallio almost alongside. It's one of those corners, isn't it, where you get the impression someone's going to get them, but they're not. It's just they're at that rotation point in the corner, you know, the concertina effect. But I have to say, Kallio looking really strong here, and Gunderson under a serious amount of pressure. Kallio might have a look up at the hairpin. Go look down the inside, is he? Thinks better of it, but he is right there. So Kallio to the joker, maybe?
Yeah, obviously I'd say so. He's in the fast group of cars. Hopefully he shouldn't be held up too much. We've got Sami Matti Trogan already gone.
Doesn't go. He doesn't. Nilsson does.
Gone,
so Nilsson goes. Nilsson trying to protect his position. Gryazin hasn't gone in the red car, but Trogan on the outside in P5 has joker already. Sami Matti, we know, can be quite quick. So Sami Matti Trogan versus Nilsson at the merge. We're looking at the leaders, which is Gunderson and Kallio. And as they come past the common tradition, Nilsson in the background you can see has joined back in 5th place. In fact, loses time on the exit of turn 1. Up at the hairpin though, still Kallio behind Gunderson. I might have jokered on that last lap down. The only problem is if you joker early, you definitely lose time, because if the car in front brakes like that.
Yeah, so you obviously have to match the person in front of you's braking point. If they're going for the normal lap and you want to go for the joker lap, you know, normally you can run the car in deeper on the brakes, but there's a car in front of you, so you can't do that.
Joker merge coming up 4 ways. Look, Nilsson's going to lose out to Gryazin as well. Going to have a look up the inside, goes for the Timmer move, but Gryazин's wise to it and shuts the door. So Kallio's jokered. Gunderson leading, the only man not to do so. So this is going to be potentially for the TQ spot, because it's Kallio versus Gunderson at the top of the table. But has Ericsson beaten them on the timesheets? Ericsson's target time, 2:26.6. On the right-hand side of your picture, Gunderson into the joker lap, but I think round the outside, Kallio might have it. This is going to be close. Gunderson's going to try and hook that car up, but Kallio's got a good exit speed over the jump. Couldn't be closer. Side by side of the line, and it goes to Kallio. It goes to Kallio by 1/2 tenth. So Kallio takes it from Gunderson, but neither of them is as quick as Ericsson. In fact, Ericsson has absolutely smashed that session. 2:26.6 is 3.2 seconds quicker than Kallio went, who's in P2. 2:29.8, Kallio, Gunderson, Trogan, Gryazin, Nilsson, all those guys going relatively quickly. And where do they slot in? They're all inside the top 8. So that knocks McConnell down to 4th, Wilfredson down to 6th, but it is Ericsson who takes Q3, and that's going to move him up because Ericsson was 6th following that double puncture in Q2 yesterday. The current champion fighting back in the style we would expect. Very even start. Look for Nilsson there, just tidy. Good.
Yeah, super smart movement. And Sammy Matitrogan as well there, coming from the outside, cutting right in and being able to slot it behind Nilsson. So very, very smart driving by these guys.
Gryazin doing the round the outside up at the hairpin. I'm not sure. I think he managed to hold on at that point. You can see the cars suffering a bit of gravel rash here as well, because this is proper gravel getting fired up at the front of the cars, and great fun. Drivers loving this brand new track. Ericsson, though, the quickest of these guys.
Well, that was a real battle with Gunderson, wasn't it? It couldn't really have been closer over the line. How was it from the driver's seat?
Yeah, I was all the time behind him in normal lap, and then I just went to the choker and tried to do a perfect lap, and it worked. And it was tight. I see him going to the left side, but I know I have more speed, and over the jump I was first in the finish, so that's good.
Good morning's work. Well done.
Here are the standings after Q3. Jesse Kallio up there at the top of the table still, and that's a suitable gap he's got over Gunderson. So I think actually you've probably got your top 3 there. If you look at the qualifying points down the right-hand side, that's not championship points, it's just so that we can arrange them into their positions. And we've got a session win for Kallio, one for Gunderson, but a comprehensive session win in today's conditions for Oliver Ericsson. Then it's McConnell, Gryazin, Nilsson, Trogan and Michalak. And I don't think we're going to see who's outside the top 12, but I'm guessing it's still Albert Lavera. It is indeed. So Lavera, look, is now just a couple of points off. So he might be able to nick it off Folders. One more session to go. Great stuff from the RX2 boys. We can see the track is quicker. Now we're going to send the supercars out there. How much faster do you think they can go?
Yeah, I mean, we saw some impressive lap times this morning in free practice. Obviously, these guys now learning the track and the dry, but fastest lap being a 33.0, so compared to yesterday's 35.0, I believe.
So 2 seconds. Liam took the fastest time, didn't he? Fastest lap, I think, in Q2, so...
Yeah, so definitely going to be improved pace, and I'm sure we're going to see an improvement on 33.0 as well.
Looking forward to it. 5 cars on the grid and good to go. We're going to get Q3 underway. It's the last one pulling up now. Gregoire de Moustier, of course, a full-timer last year. This year making an appearance here in Belgium. I hope we'll see him again later in the year. Back with Sebastian Loeb Racing again. Familiar car and livery from last year. Let's take a look at the grid then for Q3 Race 1. Paul 3 on the inside, then it's Enzo Ede, Herve Napik, Francois Duval and Gregoire de Moustier. Duval is currently 16th. With respect to the others, he's the guy here who should be on for the money. The ES Motorsports Skoda we know is quick. We saw it in the semi-finals with Rokas Baciuska behind the wheel. He's departed that team and Duval is in for this weekend. We're not sure on their plans for the rest of the season in terms of drivers. Baciuska looking for another drive in the paddock. 3 Belgians in this, Ede, Duval and de Moustier. Duval gets the start, shuts the door immediately on Napik. Paul 3 though is going to get him down into turn 1. Duval is going to try and get underneath him on the run up through Eau Rouge. Nearly alongside, has to dip the brake to avoid the rear end. Is he going to have a look up the inside of the hair? But I don't think it is. Paul 3 goes nice and defensive. Enzo Ede gives a little tap to the back of Duval. Enzo Ede going to pass Francois Duval on the way down the hill. That's fantastic. I saw Enzo this morning at the hotel. He said he was having to really learn the car yesterday in the wet, first time in it, and he missed the start completely, forgot his anti-lag, and he said there's just so much going on.
Yeah, of course, and if you guys caught, so we see Duval there at the inside on the final corner, so really getting himself stuck in there. But if you saw Barcelona, I did an explanation on the start procedure these guys have to go through, and there's so much to remember.
Yeah, so much going on. So Duval has really got to get the hammer down. At the minute he's in P16. He had a P11 in Q1. Dust is flying up into the commentary position. It's completely different conditions to yesterday. It really is a cloud of it as the cars come through turn 1. Paul 3 still leading. Duval seemingly unable to close the gap. And I have to say, Paul 3 is doing a good job here in the second start machine.
Yeah, fantastic job. And we know that car's got pace. We saw some impressive times from Baumanis last year, so he's definitely got a good bit of kit behind him.
And on that point, actually, some of you have been asking why Stard aren't scoring any teams points. At the minute, when you present your cars as a team, the two cars have to be identical. Duval really closing now Paul Tree. And Paul Tree's his last year's spec car. Duval fastest 33.7. Fastest lap of the day so far with Edox, our timing partner. Duval goes into the Joker lap. So Duval into the Joker lap now on lap 3 of 4. Going to come down on the inside. Paul Tree is super sideways around the outside. Whereabouts is he? He's in front. So Duval's still a fair way back. He was closer than that, I thought, on the way in. I mean, you know, he should be behind, but maybe the Joker lap's slower today than it was in comparison yesterday.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, with it being dry now, maybe these guys are able to carry a bit more speed around the outside, but I'm sure we'll see soon the Joker lap difference now for the dry conditions compared to the wet yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we were seeing, weren't we, that there wasn't that much in between it, but there really is today. So Paul Tree into the inside. Doesn't seem to be hampered in quite the same way Duval was. And this is a great drive by Paul Tree. He's hopefully going to hold on. Is he? Duval trying to come around the outside at the finish. Doesn't quite make it. Paul Tree takes it. Debussier in a fight with Nappick at the back end. Zoid takes third. Let's take a look at the time. So we're going to spin at the finish there for Herve Nappick after the line. Good effort. If you're wondering, Herve Nappick is 72 years old, and that is very impressive indeed. He's still out there chucking it about in a supercar. 3 up at the holding area. And we're going to take a look at the times in a second, and we'll be able to compare that to yesterday. So 2:19.976 for Paul Tree, and that would be enough for him to have won both sessions. It was 7 seconds faster than they were going yesterday. Now, bear in mind, Paul Tree is, with all credit to him, you know, not one of our fastest drivers. I think we're looking at a hell of a time being knocked off here with the supercars. But great drive by him. He's beaten a WRC legend here. Well done, Paul. Nicely done. Off the line, he got a great start, look. Paul Tree on the inside. Okay, Duval's somewhat hampered by the contact. They all moved a bit too quickly off the line, Dan. You've got to keep it straight, haven't you, off the line?
Yeah, and I mean, I think maybe a bit of wheel spin for these guys as well, which obviously can make the cars a little bit squirrely, and with them being all so close together, they just caught each other up and slowed each other down.
So yeah, Paul Tree got out in front. Duval then lost out up at the hairpin, but managed to take that position back off Enzo Eid in the big long sweeper. But it was when Duval Jokered, I was surprised at how much time he lost in the Joker, and I think he must have made a mistake, because Paul Tree did a better job when he came out. I suppose they were still pretty close to where they were before. We'll figure it out. We've got 3 more races to go. Definitely seems a bigger time difference, Dan, between the Joker and the standard lap.
Yeah, so, well, we're not sure what the time difference is now, but of course we've got a couple more races to figure out.
Okay, Laura's with Paul Tree now.
Well, pal, that was 7 seconds quicker than anyone went yesterday. Just how much has this track improved today?
The track is very, very good, and this I actually love. I think it's the most fun can do with the pants on. Definitely. It's shaking, the whole body is shaking now, because actually to beat Francois Duval in his home course, I have seen it on television for many years, and I actually beat him. That's very good.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
What a legend. I love the fact he's enjoyed that much. You know, as I say, we know the time we get beaten by the quick guys, but it's not the point. The point is Paul Tree's just beaten Francois Duval. And he's obviously watched him in WRC and he's loving it.
Yeah, of course. That's fantastic, isn't it?
Great result. Okay, let's take a look at the grid for race 2 Q3. Christian Sabo, Matthias Ekstrom, Guillaume de Ridder, Oliver Bennett and Anton Markland. Bennett has gone for 4 new tyres. Sabo and Ekstrom should be sensible on the inside, but we'll see. So Ekstrom has done a load of work on this car up at Hollius in between the events. As a non-permanent driver, he's free to test at the World Championship tracks. We know they've got brand new dampers across all 4 of the cars. And when I say the 4, I don't know about Enzo Eid's car, but Ekstrom, Sabo, Baccarat and Doran all running it, and they're P1 and P2 at the minute, Monster Energy RX Cartel. So great start even across. Bennett got a fantastic start on the outside, but Sabo's going to get the whole shot. Little nudge. Is anyone going to end up in the wall? It's pretty close from Bennett, but he holds on. Ekstrom gets P2. Oh, de Ridder trying to come up the inside of Bennett, so Bennett gets pushed wide. Round the left-hander, De Ridder's holding on to P3. Ekstrom, is it? No, sorry, Sabo and Ekstrom. So Ekstrom into the lead.
Yeah, so Ekstrom's going to be loving this now. Got himself a bit of clear track to really try and...
Contact in the background on the way into the joke lap there. Markland got a push from Bennett. So Bennett into the side of Markland. Bennett goes out wide, going to try and come out tight on the joke lap. I think Markland will hold on though.
Yeah, so Ollie into the back of Anton Markland again there. So Ollie taking a wider line, getting a later apex, having the car pointing straight, carrying that bit more extra momentum out of the corner and just had nowhere to go.
No, I didn't see where Ekstrom got Szabo. It must have been up at the hairpin because Szabo was leading as they came through Eau Rouge and I was looking at the rear of the pack. Markland and Bennett, you're looking at who's joking. We're on board with De Ridder down the hill. Where's De Ridder going to go? De Ridder goes joker, so this would be to protect the positions behind him. And of course, one of those positions is Markland, who's in the senior GCK squad, if you want to call it that. We've got GCK Academy as well. De Ridder wants to get to the semi-finals here at home. He's had a problem. No! De Ridder's had a problem on the inside. Is the car broken? So Guillaume De Ridder, the Belgian at home, has had a disaster. And to me, that car's on a go slow. So this is about Ekstrom out front now, setting a benchmark time for everyone. But Szabo's going with him. And Szabo, of course, sees Ekstrom very much as his mentor. He'd be loving the chance to follow him.
Yeah, of course. Just literally, it makes it so much easier to get yourself a good time as well, especially when you're following an experienced driver like Matthias, able to use the lines. You can see how the side window there, how sideways they are. You can see Szabo out of Matthias's side window. So
fantastic.
Really throwing the cars in.
Edoc's fastest lap for Matthias Ekstrom. Brilliant. 32.7. We're into the 32. So Ekstrom's on an absolute flyer up the hill as late as can be on the brakes. He's gapped Szabo just a little bit. They're both getting a joker on this last lap. Szabo sideways through the hairpin. Nicely done.
Yeah, fantastic job as these guys, I believe they're going to comfortably come out in front of Markland here.
2:19.976 is the target time of Paul 3 from the previous race. Ekstrom is early on the brakes and early on the handbrake to get the car rotating straight. That's the time you're looking for. He's on the gas. He's going to run the car wide over the line, try and cross the timing line as early as he can. 2:16.7. Fantastic, 3.2 seconds fast, but I have to say as well, that shows how well Paul 3 was going in the previous race, because that's impressive to be within that amount of time to Ekstrom. De Ridder's car going okay, so De Ridder had a problem then. I don't know if he's done some sort of a reset in the middle of the race, but that's cost De Ridder dear, and that's a real shame. 16 seconds off there, De Ridder, with that issue. Gutted. Where was he overnight? De Ridder was out. He was 14th, so he might have been able to make it, but he'll need a brilliant result now. De Ridder at the back of the pack. Bennett in front of him. Then Markland, Szabo and Ekstrom with the new target time, 2:16.7. The top three go to the top of the timesheets. Off the line then, Ekstrom versus Szabo, and we want to see what happened up at turn 2. So Ekstrom gives way to Szabo. Szabo gets enough space to carry the speed through. Then up at the hairpin, does Szabo get to? Yeah, he goes too deep. So he goes to. Look at Ekstrom, just it's super tidy.
Yeah, exactly. And like we've been saying, it's new conditions. These guys trying to learn their braking points, and Szabo just out judging it slightly and running wide there, allowing Matthias to come up the inside and keeping it super tidy.
It was just the lack of spectacle is what was so fascinating about it. It's a bit like Timmy in the hairpin at Barcelona, you know, tight in, get it straight on the gas, you know, no spectacle, all grip and go. Typical Ekstrom, you know, he just knows.
Yeah, that's a racing driver for you. He is so professional.
There's that brilliant shot of sideways out of Matthias's window. You won't see that again this season. Brilliant, brilliant corner here at Spa RX.
Matthias, 3 seconds quicker than our first race. The track looks a lot faster today. How good is it to be back in a World Rallycross car out there racing?
Yeah, it was good fun, but I think track evolution will be pretty big, so we have to be happy with this, but still it's a long day to go and collect some good points and have a lot of fun.
Thank you, well done.
Thank you.
All smiles from Ekstrom, loving being back in a World Rallycross supercar. That is a very impressive time, what we would expect from Ekstrom. Ekstrom was P12 overnight. Yesterday he was 9th and 12th. While Doran and Baccarat, of course, were in P1 and P2. Must remember, Ekstrom's car is a 16 chassis, so he's missing some of the parts from the 18 cars, which Baccarat and Doran are in. But then on the other hand, we know he's got upgrades. We know he's got a different engine, different launch package, different rear wing and these new dampers. So it's not really a 16 car that Ekstrom is in. Hansen in the Peugeot, which he loved from the start of last season and which he used to such good effect last time out in Barcelona with his first ever clean sweep, the third one in history of World Rallycross. On to Baccarat, on to Kristoffersson. And he rolls up to the line to complete the grid. Here we go then. This is the full lineup for race 3 of Q3. Timozyanov with that fantastic pass yesterday. He's on the pole for this one. Next to him, Gulan Shisharit, Kevin Hansen in the middle, Andreas Backrud and Timmy Hansen. Everybody is on new boots. All 5 cars have got 4 new tyres, and of course that is probably because yesterday they were using wets, so they've got the tyres available to them. We know some people took a gamble on slicks. We'll talk to Dan Rook about that in a second. Timmy Hansen preparing for the start. One last tighten of the belts. And the helmet too. Clunks the car into gear, onto the handbrake. And here we go with the start procedure for all these guys then. Here comes the noise. A lot of smoke from the back of Kevin Hansen's car. We saw that in Barcelona as well. Shisharit's jumped the start. No advantage to that today.
No, not at all. And of course, the Joker lap difference looking like it's a bit bigger today as well. So really not going to be playing into Shisharit's hands here.
So let's see what happened. He's in 13th overnight, so he could have done without that. And is he doing? He kind of went for the full release, didn't he? He went for a full release. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a clutch creep where the car edges forward. It was like a launch. But okay, well there we go. 2 times Joker lap sign being shown to Shisharit. We'll get the grid reset and then we'll get these guys underway again. He pulls up towards the lights there. You can see they go green. Just waiting on Backward and Hansen pulling up on the left-hand side of the grid. You can see Timozyanov, the Russian, looking relaxed. It was a brilliant performance yesterday. Of course, he's kind of leading the team this weekend with Niklas Grond being away, but at the minute being led by his teammate Wieman. Restart then for race 3 of Q3 after Shisharit jumped the start first time around. The marshals are going to give them the thumbs up. This time they'll hope to get away. Timmy Hansen goes through his warm-up procedure again. Normally a bit of shouting and thumping in the car to get himself fired up, and it's tricky, of course, when you've got a restart and you have to go again. That adrenaline all comes, all goes, and it has to come back again. Now the lights. Good start, Timozyanov on the inside, but great start backward. Absolutely flies off the line. Going to try to get to the inside. Timmy going to try and go around the outside of Timmer. Timmer holds the inside line here. Timmy Hansen on his right. Can he hold on to the braking zone? Up into the hairpin. The Russian driver's going to push Timmy wide. Held on very nice indeed. Kevin's going to have to slide too. Timmy's got the inside line though down into the next one. So is Timmy going to go deep on the brakes in the Peugeot? He does, and Timmer has to give the place back. So Timmer places swapping into the Joker lap. Kevin Hansen has gone, and Shisharit as well. So you're on board with Timmer, who gets up underneath Timmy. Timmy does what Liam did yesterday, gets back underneath the Russian, side by side over the jump. This has gone on for the whole lap. Timmer's now on the outside, going to try and cut to the inside. Timmy runs wide. The Russian's going to get back up the inside of Timmy through Eau Rouge again. This is a mega fight. On the brakes again into the hairpin, and this time Timmer has to give best, does he? He's on the inside again. Dan, this is incredible.
Absolutely fantastic stuff here. These guys are really going for it. Timozyanov now going on to the Joker lap. He's getting himself out of that fight, trying to get himself a clear space so he can put lap times in.
Oh mate, we're loving it, but that's not the way to set a quick time, of course, is it? This is Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen now taking the super wide line. Kevin's up the inside of Timmy. These guys have got to stop this. They're down in P10 and P11. They've got to find the time. Kevin now does to Timmy does to Kevin what Timmer did to him, but Timmer's right up behind them almost. Yeah, you can see Timmer's gained on them already.
Timozyanov is going to be loving seeing these fights. He's on the inside of Hansen as they come around the hairpin. You can see on the onboard camera there. So Timozyanov now is going to be praying that Timmy goes for the Joker, and he does. So he's got himself some clear air.
So backward out front, completely untroubled. Into the Joker lap goes Timmy. Timozyanov is in the P3. Kevin, of course, already gone, and Timmy's lost out big time. He's going to lose out to Shisharit, who's Joker twice contact over the jump. Timmy Hansen, who took a clean sweep in Barcelona, is in P10. We know the pace is there. He's as quick as any of these guys, but Timmy's been unlucky here because he's got caught up in a fight with Timmer. He's been in a fight with his brother. Now he's in a fight with Shisharit.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he just made a small mistake in the Joker lap there. He ran wide and looked like the car bobbed a little bit, so not able to get away.
2:16.7. Matthias Ekström time, backwards in an 18 spec car. Can he beat it? Kevin Hansen's on the gas around the outside. Kevin the silent assassin in this one, but it is Backward who takes it, and he does beat it. 2:16.0, 6/10 of a second faster for Andreas Backward. Kevin Hansen doing really well, and that shows you where Timmy could have been if he hadn't had his little issues in those fights. So still a good time for all these guys, but what a great fight.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? Of course, But let's not forget, Shishirit had 2 Joker laps and still managed to beat Timmy Hansen.
You wonder what he might have done without. I mean, he certainly could have gone a little bit quicker. So fantastic job by Shishirit too. Really, really good. But this track layout, I've never seen cars go side by side for a whole lap and then straight onto another fight with Kevin. Poor Timmy must have been like, come on, like, give me a break. Timmer was mega, wasn't he? Oh, I love it. Timmer's on fire this weekend. Timmer's Yarnov down in P8. Where will he be after Q3? Here's the result then of Q3 Race 3. Backrud taking it 2:16.0. Will that be enough to give him his second session win of the weekend? Kevin Hansen P2, good job by him. Timmer's Yarnov with that fight, Shishirit as well, and Timmy Hansen ends up down in 5th. Here's where they slot in. So Timmy's still in 7th place, but of course we've got 5 very quick guys still to come. So Kevin with a bit of a recovery, not so much for Timmy. Well, let's take a look at this. How do you pick the replays from this one? We need to see the whole race again.
Yeah, we may as well, but obviously you can see here Backrud just getting himself that clean start, and then that just gave him the advantage for the rest of the race. The rest of them all bunched there together. Timmy Janov up the inside onto the hairpin in lap 1, and then Timmy now back at him again coming down the hill.
There's Timmer on the inside, so good. Look, and then he gets back up the inside of him on the exit, just riding on board with him. The berm corner working out a treat. Timmer's Yarnov then up the inside and Timmy up at the hairpin. And again, it shows you that the alternative lines around the hairpin work too. This track is wide, Dan.
It's so cool, this track. It just shows the difference that these guys do not even know what is the fastest line. It's proving that people are overtaking different ways, and now they're just trying to figure it out.
Well, an almighty battle in that race, but you probably weren't that aware of it, were you? How did it feel so far out in front there?
Well, to be honest, I had no idea. I was pushing as I could. I tried to play it a little bit safe at the same time, because it is easy to get a puncture and it is easy to do a mistake, but I felt I had 14 laps, didn't do much out of it. But we have more in the box, but we play a little bit more on the safe side as well. Starts are mega, so big thank you to KYB and Matthias for doing a great test last weekend in Sweden. It has helped massively, so yeah, big thank you. Also to all the Backrud Blues, the RX Cartel, you guys are amazing.
Good times continue for Monster Energy RX Cartel. Well done. Thank you, Andreas.
Big smile on Backrud's face. You know, he's back on it, isn't he? He won a session yesterday. He's P2 overnight to his teammate Liam Doran. Just absolutely great job, and there is Doran on this one. Final race of Q3 then. Let's take a look at the grid for race 4. Liam Doran, the overnight TQ. It's only the second time he's done that in his career. He did it in 2015 in Hockenheim, where he also won a session. This was his second ever heat win when he won Q2 yesterday. Yannis Baumanis, Cyril Raymond, both those guys doing well in 6th and 7th. But Jonny Weeman, 3rd after Q2. This is his second outing in the Supercar, I believe, in 2.5 years. It's only his second race weekend in World RX ever. And Timo Scheider, look, 4th after Q2. So really mixed up this weekend, but the conditions are different. What's going to happen now? So Doran, in theory, can match that pace of Backrud and Ekstrom, who are currently 1st and 3rd in this session. But yesterday, of course, it was wet. He looked impressive during free practice this morning warm-up. He was on a big send, said to everyone, if you thought I was sending it yesterday, you wait for today. What's going to happen in turn 1? Great start, Doran on the inside, but Scheider's got a fantastic start too. Maybe Scheider can't get in. Weeman trying to go contact across all 4 cars. Weeman sideways, Scheider has to back out the whole thing. Baumanis ends up P2, and Doran has got the whole shot, just what he needed.
Yeah, fantastic job there, and I'm sure sharing information from all of the Audis before him on launch settings and so on, so able to get himself in there, but really even start, no one able to even turn in, because all of the cars are there together.
So into the Joker lap, who's gone in this one? Weeman's gone in, Scheider's gone in as well, so it's Weeman and Scheider have gone Joker. Doran around the outside. This is his style, in big time sideways, but out straight.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching Liam in free practice, and he comes off the right-hander at the bottom of the hill. He carries a bit of sideways, and then he literally throws the car on the brake pedal, transitions the weight around, and he's backwards then into the final corner, but then he's got himself straight to come across the jump.
We saw Ekstrom doing it too. Big, aggressive steering inputs to deliberately upset upset the balance of the car. Watch for Doran through here. Talk us through it, Dan.
Yeah, so Liam, they're actually going a bit smoothly, but you can see here now, really, really aggressive. He'll be using a tiny dab of brake to throw the car, but then just straight back on the power and using the momentum of the wheels to get himself turned and stopped and going again.
So Weeman has got Balmanis. Balmanis Joker's on 3, but Weeman is in front of him. So Jonny Weeman on an absolute flyer again. You can't count him out and say P3 overnight. He's the danger man for Doran. It's a gap of 1.7. Liam Doran will have to head into the Joker lap in the next couple of laps. So is he going to go now or is he going to wait for the last one? I think he'll go now and try and protect it. He doesn't, so Doran holds on. So Doran holds on for the last lap, Dan.
Yeah, for me, Liam should have gone then. Jonny Weeman actually, he took 6/10 out of Liam on that final lap, so Jonny Weeman on a big charge.
So could Weeman take his first ever qualifying session win in the World Rallycross Championship here in Belgium? Doran, the British bomb, currently the TQ, up to the top of the hill and late on the brakes. He's going to have to get this absolutely perfect. Jonny Weeman flying too. Weeman went for another track walk yesterday after they were regrading the track. He was out there with Jussi Pinnamäki, who of course runs the GRX team. Here we go then. Doran on the inside, target time 2:16.0. Weeman round the outside. He's earlier and tidier into the long sweeper. On the exit there, Doran's on the gas. He's going to try and hold on, but Weeman's got way more pace over the line. I think Jonny Weeman's going to get it. He does. So 2:17.3 for Weeman. It's not the fastest time, but he does win the race, and that means that Bakkerud has won his second qualifying session of the weekend here at Spa-Francorchamps. Another great race. So different lines working in different ways.
Yeah, it's so varied. I mean, it's going to be hard for these guys to really work out. They're going to be going back now, looking at the data to figure out which way is the best way to take every corner.
Jonny Weeman then takes the win, 2:17.3, just by 0.2 of a second from Liam Doran. Balmanis, Scheider, Cyril Raymond. They slot in, so the top 4 were faster. We'll bring you the standings after Q3 in a second and see where everyone is. Bakkerud was in second. Has he done enough to take it away from Liam Doran? I think he has, because Doran's down in 6th. I think Bakkerud is going to end up taking the TQ at this point. There's one session to go. So this was the start. Doran gets away, but it was in the outside. Look, contact, literally. I think that there was one point there where all 5 cars were leaning on each other.
Yeah, so of course, when everyone's leaning on each other like that, nobody can rotate the car to get turned in. So it was almost looked like everyone was sending it for the tyre bales.
Cyril Raymond on the inside got hooked up, didn't he, on the hairpin? This was Doran style through the big long sweeper with Balmanis behind. This big dust cloud they're sending up. The VIP spot viewing area is on the outside of turn 1, so there's some VIPs up there, I think, with a bit of dirt in the champagne. But that's rallycross, you know? So Doran coming around the inside. He was hot on the way in. Weeman, though, was hot on the way out. Weeman took it, but it's Bakkerud who wins the session.
Jonny, just your second ever World Rallycross weekend, and you've just won that final tough battle then. How much are you enjoying being out there?
Yeah, it's really nice. Now when it's dry, I'm more comfortable in the car, and I think you can see it on the track also. But it was close with Liam, but you know, happy I came out to win it.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Here are the standings then after Q3, and Andreas Bakkerud, with his second session win of the weekend, takes the TQ from his teammate Liam Doran, and that's actually a significant gap now between them on the points. So can Bakkerud get a TQ here in Belgium? Jonny Weeman, what a performance from him this weekend. He's in 3rd. Then it's Kevin Hansen, who's moved up brilliantly. Timur Timosyanov, Sabo, Balmanis, and Matthias Ekström up to 8th from 12th. Scheider, Mark, and Timmy Hansen is still down in 11th place, so he's gone down a place compared to last night. Cyril Raymond is in 12th, that's where Ekström was. Schiestrit, Duval, Bennett, Paltry, and everybody else behind currently missing out in the semi-finals, but we've got one more session to go. Yes. Is there anything else that needs? I mean, like the battle between Timur and Timmy, and then Kevin and Timmy, the alternative lines around here. You know, yesterday we kind of saw alternative lines, but we're seeing it again today in the dry. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, of course, and obviously different conditions again, so these guys are figuring out which is faster and which is slower. I saw everyone trying a different line up in that final corner, and Timmy Hansen really trying the wide line in his warm-up this morning, and putting it to effect there where we saw in the battle with Timur.
Great.
So.
Him and they were swapping places like Doran and Timmy did yesterday. So now, Dan, I mean, they haven't got long before Q4, and they will be back, as you say, studying the data to find out which was the quickest approach.
Yeah, of course, and luckily for these guys, I'm sure every team is going to have their driver coach, if you like, the data analysis bloke that's going to come when the car comes in. He'll be shoving it straight on the laptop and then holleying the driver to come in and watch where is faster and slower.
So just be sitting there going through the data again and again and again.
Yeah, so really studying it to find every single tenth.
We've got loads of track sweepers out on the track in front of us. It's very dusty. For me, Dan, the bumps in turn 1 didn't appear like they did yesterday when it was wet. They were getting dug out much more.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, with it being dry, it being able to compact a bit more. And yeah, it's fantastic that the track is holding up really well now.
So take a look at this as well. We got some special stuff in Rallycross. Yeah, we have the joke lap, we have jumps, but just occasionally we have contact in the air. You know, which is something we like to think is pretty unique to what we do. I mean, trophy trucks maybe in the States, but this is the Hansen brothers, and fair play to them. They didn't give each other any room here. Look at this, side by side in the air. If I was Kenneth, I might be like, okay, boys, you're costing money. Like, calm it down. But great to see them race. You know, we know they're brothers, we know they're teammates. But Dan, I don't want to see them give each other too much space on track, and that was a great indicator that if it comes down to those two fighting for this championship, they're going to go for it.
Yeah, of course, and we know when we've spoken to Kevin before that, you know, he'll be sitting second behind Timmy, but he won't be happy with it because it's his big brother that's in front of him. So yeah. Kevin out to prove a point.
Brilliant, great racing here, absolutely fantastic racing from Q3, and of course we've got one more session to go later on today, Q4, and we'll probably get the times up for you at some point. I'm not sure. When are we back up here, Dan? I don't know. keep an eye on all the usual social media channels. There we go, at the bottom, 11:30 CET, right on cue. Thanks very much, Andrew, in graphics, and the truck there, tidily done. So that's when we'll be back. Obviously, we've got a session of RX2 followed by World RX, and then you need to head to the World RX website to find out where you can watch the semi-finals and the finals this afternoon, /TV_listings if you want to find out where you can watch it in your region. If there's no TV deal in your region, you'll be able to watch the stream here with us. So my thanks to Laura Winter and Dan Rook, and we'll see you later on today for Q4.